And welcome to episode number 28 of Tally Benchwarmers. This is your unofficial take on the latest in local sports here in the Tallahassee region. And this week, we are backbenching college sports. We've got some softball, some baseball. We've got some fun announcements to share with folks about some championships that have come our way here from teams in Tallahassee. But, before we start talking about sports, we're recording this on Monday morning, the Monday following, of course, the tragedy on the Florida State University campus last Thursday. And, I know that we're all feeling, a little heartbroken and everything else. It's the Seminole Strong, unconquered feeling across campus. And, I'm glad to be sitting around a table with some friends, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. That's the senseless violence is something, you don't never want it to happen, but for it to strike us twice in a 10-year span, it's, you get snake bitten and then.
You just know. I mean, it happens. This violence on school campuses, it's around the country.
Yeah.
And trying not to get too political, but we need to figure out ways to keep those of us of all ages, but certainly folks that are in school, safe.
Yeah. You send your child to school, you don't want them to,
that's right. So
get hurt in any way.
Yeah, I saw an announcement today that the injured victims, the last two, will most likely be released from the hospital today. So that's
great. So
wonderful
awesome.
news.
Yeah, I mean, our hearts go out to the families of the two who perished, and one of them a really beloved staff member here at Florida State University.
And an assistant football coach at Leon High School.
So
prayers to the Lions.
But let's not focus on all of the sad. As I mentioned, we've got some really good news to share. In fact, Adrian, I forgot to introduce us. And in fact, in case there are those that have not been a regular podcast viewer and listener, Adrian Andrews had the privilege to be joining us on this weekly Tally Benchwarmers. Adrian Andrews, our sports reporter, Jennifer Tappan, our CFO, and Eric Carter, our assistant chief engineer. Here we are the group that makes up the Benchwarmers. And Adrian, though, you had a chance to go over to a press event on the FAMU campus.
Yeah. Man, it was good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our 16th head Rattler basketball coach, Coach Charlie Ward Jr.
Coach Ward, great to use that term, right? Coach Ward.
Coach Ward.
I think that's positive news on both campuses.
Yes,
because
indeed.
Charlie Ward is, he's a legacy.
FSU.
He's
that
an
name,
icon.
that
He's
name,
that name.
in this building. I mean, Florida State around this campus. That's Mr. FSU right there.
It is.
Brought the first national championship.
Yeah.
Brought the first Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then turned around and went and played a basketball game, I think, like the next day.
The next day,
That's a pure athlete.
And
Reminds me of my days.
then found success, really good success, with a 12-year career in the NBA.
Yes.
He was
So
with the Knicks. Yeah.
largely with the Knicks. I think he played with the Rockets for a season.
Yes,
Maybe
one
did he
season.
play with Phoenix also?
No, I think it was just the Rockets.
Just the Rockets.
Yeah.
And then he came home to Tallahassee and has done incredible work with the local community.
Yeah,
and
what a leader here in
He's such
this
a
community.
They're opening up a Boys and Girls Club.
Yes,
for
I'm
him
very
on
familiar with
Capitol
that.
Circle.
Yep.
It's actually it's Charlie and his wife. I mean, it's a whole project
Right.
that they are developing, and the Boys and Girls Club. Luckily, I mean, seriously, I'm on the board of the Boys and Girls Club of the Big Bend, and Charlie reached out and wanted the Boys and Girls Club to be a part of that.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
of course they said yes. So that's going to be on Capitol Circle Southwest for those of you that are
Right down the street from where I
Tallahassee residents. So yeah, can't say enough good things about Charlie Ward. And in fact, I know Adrian, you got a chance to talk with the coach, and let's hear what he had to say.
I'm excited about the opportunity to work alongside our returning players, future recruits, and an incredible team within the athletic department to continue building this exceptional program and help guide it toward reaching its fullest potential.
And that's probably, he is not a very comfortable public speaker because he's such a humble and low key person.
Yeah.
So you can see him walking around the local Walmart anytime.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. so what's the mood on FAMU campus?
Yeah, man. They're excited. At the presser today, was at the Lawson Center, and it was students, his family, Ward's family came out, his dad and everything. His parents actually met on FAMU's campus. And Charlie was actually born. Yeah, he was born at FAMU. His family used to have a hospital.
The
family hospital.
Yeah, Foothill. So
this was meant to
it was
be.
And he talked about like
Full
how
circle.
this is a full circle moment. And he said he's living basically in his dad's legacy. Like he's literally doing it. And obviously, he has some things. And when he came back, and he was coaching, high school ball and stuff, and he's like, trying to get into the college atmosphere, and he's like, what other better place to do than FAMU? He said that was literally the only one on his radar that he wanted to coach at, because of that bloodline, through FAMU and FAMU campus and his family. So
that is definitely awesome.
Yeah. So the athletic department kind of backed into a really lucky event.
Yes.
With all this, so that's great. Not that that's how FAMU's athletic department operates, but in this case, it had the former coach who was just here for a year. Had he not chosen to not sign his extension,
right?
Charlie wouldn't be. So that's
not yet.
Great. Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
Right. Yeah.
He would have to wait another year.
Yeah. But this would, I think just again for the mood of the town of Tallahassee, the city of Tallahassee, what a great way to kind of start this next week here in Tallahassee with positive news like that. And let's stick with FAMU good news and positive news. Their men's golf team won the SWAC.
Oh man!
Right?
Yes. First time.
First time
ever.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's big news.
That's big.
Championship town here.
It really is.
I will tell you that we have had in years past with on the Boys and Girls Club. Let's go back to that real quick. We've had a golf tournament as a fundraising event, and a number of years we've had members of the FAMU golf team be there, and they're on one of the tees. And I think if the golfers pay like $10 or $20, they get the player to tee off for them.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So
I'd pay a lot of money for having them just play the whole game.
Yeah, they use that as a special ability to raise some more money. So
that's awesome.
It's been a lot of fun. And then on the women's side, we've had some positive news for FAMU too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That women's team.
Yeah, tennis.
They did that thing.
They did the thing.
2 championships in the last 3 years.
Wow.
Women's tennis, that's good for them.
And the great thing about that is, like I said, championship town, we're bringing titles in. They're conference championships, which lead to national championships. So, I'm speaking that part into existence, so. But in the women's, Miss Sarah Rockin, she was named the MVP tournament, the tournament MVP. So,
nice.
They beat Jackson State. So that even makes it a little more special. Yes. They beat Jackson State 4-2.
I can't stand them.
So it all sometimes always depends on who you beat, right?
It really does.
Yeah,
them and Bethune-Cookman,
listen, last week when you were talking about how you didn't understand how we couldn't go for the Gators.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm just
So anytime we beat the Gators, it's a bigger victory than when you
now
beat
you should understand it.
I understood it, but there's a Florida school and a Texas school. You guys could have let that slide.
Exactly.
You're never going to let that down.
We're never going to.
Never letting it go.
That's right. So speaking of Florida State, their women's golf team won the ACC.
Yep.
First time in school history they won the ACC. They beat Wake Forest.
That's tremendous.
Yes, 3-2. So it was, it's been a good week for some, titles coming into town at a time that, we actually need some good news. So,
as much positivity as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then the men's, the FSU men's tennis team, they were in the ACC championship. They lost in the quarterfinals to Stanford.
Yeah,
but they're still going to move forward, right? And basically, talking about moving forward, the men's FAMU men's team on the golf side, that means you're going to the NCAA championship.
That's correct.
Series, right?
Nationals.
Yeah.
Playing
So I mean,
nationals,
you win, or even in this case with FSU,
Yeah.
just doing well in your conference, you move forward in national championship.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we might have
Yeah.
runner-up and a champion
Mm-hmm.
all in the
be
same
awesome.
tournament.
Yeah, 18-8 is where the men's tennis team ends, and so they go into beginning next Monday, a week from today. The men's NCAA Division I championship starts. So championship town, title town, is
Title
here,
town.
happening in Tallahassee on both campuses.
Absolutely.
It feels good to say that, right? 'Cause I feel like we haven't said that in a while. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
So
And the last couple of weeks we've been kind of depressed with the fact that Tanaya Latson now has left the women's basketball team and going to spend her senior season up a little further north in South Carolina,
she's
which
with
is
Dawn.
that's man. I tell you what, I don't feel bad for Coach Brooks. She's got some big holes to fill.
Yeah.
And one of them being KK Timpson, who graduated last year,
Yes.
and was just record holder on so many ways for the Seminoles. She got picked in the WNBA draft,
19th
number 19.
to the Indiana Fever.
Indiana. Who else
Nice.
plays with the Fever,
I
man?
think there's
There's
this young
another
lady
FSU
called Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark. Caitlin
Caitlin.
Clark. What a great combination. Whoever is the coach for the Indiana Fever has got to be just sleeping better.
Yes.
Knowing that she's got Caitlin and then Kate. I think KK's coming in well touted, but people don't realize just how dominant she can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have the bulk that some
No.
that play under the basket
she
have,
has
but
that.
she's got
That high IQ.
she's got skills.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, like Coach said that, I listened to her giving accolades before the actual draft about, KK. And she said, KK doesn't realize her true potential, and she's looking forward to what KK can grow into when she gets into the league. And that's high praise coming from a coach.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait to watch her. If WNBA,
I can't say I'll be a Fever fan, but I'll be a KK fan.
You'll be a KK fan.
I'm a Liberty
Well,
fan,
good,
so
good.
Yeah, well, but again, that's what happens lots of times when a player from FSU goes whoever.
Yeah.
I mean, even if a player from FSU went to the Patriots and in the NFL, I would root for the player. It was like Keon was. Keon Coleman playing for the Bills.
I like the Bills.
But I was
I like the
beginning.
Bills.
But that's okay. But for 20 years, I was a huge Dolphin fan, and I still follow the Dolphins and would like to see them. But man, Dolphins and Bills just don't they don't play well in the sandbox.
You got to
together,
think, well, that whole AFC East type thing. They can't go too far off, but
I'm a Jaguars fan, so I really focus on other teams.
Yeah.
you live vicariously through everybody else.
Yeah, so I watched Keon, I watched Jared, I watched.
Yeah. And then hopefully we'll get a chance to see Jordan Travis for the Jets. But again, the Jets are a tough team to like. But I root for the Jets. I'll begin rooting for the Jets if Jordan Travis ended up as their starting quartake.
That'd be the smartest move that they can make right now.
That's right.
But they stopped hurting them.
Hey, and speaking of professional sports, we've got the NBA playoffs that were starting the first round here this past weekend.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
indeed.
we had a talking about records and everything.
Records are the understatement.
Yeah, we had a record
51
making game.
point victory.
Yeah,
How does that happen?
Oklahoma
The
City
other team
against
didn't score
Oklahoma
51 points. They catch up.
121
called
to
math,
80.
Adrian.
131 to
131.
80.
Okay, I didn't do the math right. 131 to 80.
Right.
Oklahoma City over. Was it Memphis?
Yes.
Yeah, and you got Ja.
Yeah,
Morant,
knocked off
just-
jaw,
yeah.
man. I mean,
Yeah, Ja got kicked in the jaw, man.
yeah,
Got hit
we
in the jaw.
talked about it. We talked about it. If he can get he needs another little star, man. And
Yeah,
I think that'll be straight. But
Yeah.
that's
You,
shocking.
you
That
never
doesn't
want to
even
be
look
in that category of who's the team that they beat like that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
well,
what-
then the whole reason the Memphis is is they beat the Lakers in that play. Excuse me, the Mavericks in the
Right.
play-in series.
Yeah.
And the Mavericks, of course, they've got AD's hurt and Kyrie's hurt, but
Yeah.
how many games into the season did they trade Luka? there's like 77 days ago, I think, is the
Right.
headline I saw. And in 77 days, they go from a playoff contender to not even making it into the playoffs.
Well,
So-
they made the playoffs. They made the
Right.
play
They
in.
had the
That's
play-
still the
yeah,
playoffs. It's
yeah,
still
yeah,
the
that's right.
playoffs
Yeah,
because there were all
yeah.
the other teams that didn't get to
Yeah.
play after that. But it is what it is.
Oh, and our producer Jason made a mention that the Mavs GM, who made the comment, defense wins championships, and he'll be watching from home.
Yeah.
How the defense wins. But I think there was one good close game over the weekend was the Nuggets and the Nuggets and the
Clippers.
Clippers,
Yep.
thank you. Yeah, that was old OKC teammates going head to head
Yes.
with Russell Westbrook and James Harden, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
That
These
should be-
playoffs
that
should
should
be
be good,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Boston's looking good. My Knicks are doing well.
So yeah, Knicks are doing well, and we need to.
The Lakers lost.
The
game
Lakers
one.
lost. Yeah.
Am I smiling?
Yeah,
You
are.
were smiling. I was
But-
wondering. Like I
okay.
thought we were
You-
Braun fans
yeah.
over here. I don't know. Maybe not.
I'm not a bronzexual.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Ooh. The
I don't follow basketball much, but I don't like LeBron. I know that much.
yeah. No, so but our Florida teams, Orlando talking about the Celtics.
Yeah.
Orlando's and the Heat played against the Cavs. Both
Yeah.
of those games were on Sunday, and both teams. Orlando's playing the Celtics. Celtics, what they're number 2 in the East.
Yes.
And of course the Cavs are picked to play. The Cavs have been picked to play OKC
Right.
in the finals for the last month. So the Heat have got
A large hill to climb.
yeah, they've got to climb, don't they? They need to climb. They need to climb. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did it anyways.
He made me do it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, we need to climb, and that music really helps us climb out of whatever kind of hole that we've been kind of feeling with emotionally, because the war chant FSU is going to continue to succeed in all aspects of the university. Certainly on the sports side, not a great deal of sports to talk about because of games that were canceled since Thursday.
Yes.
But there were some things that happened, some games that happened before the Thursday
Yes.
tragedies.
Yeah.
On the softball side, the women's softball side, right?
Well, the women's softball side, FAMU women, they did their thing.
No, let's talk about FSU.
Oh, we want to talk about
we're
in
talking
FSU.
About,
Well,
we're talking about FSU. Didn't you hear the war chant?
well,
I
yeah.
hear the war
But you
chant.
said softball games, the games that were played. FSU didn't play softball this weekend. Their games were canceled.
Yeah, but before didn't they have?
They didn't have
have
a
baseball.
Thursday.
Not
Baseball
baseball.
had a Thursday
They
night.
had a midweek
Or a
game
Wednesday night,
against
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
USF.
I'm
Yep.
confused, but let's just,
Good morning.
The FSU women are ranked 10th in the country right now. Excuse me. So,
Lady
positive-
Knowles. Lady
Knowles. Look
Knowles.
at this.
There it goes.
Lady Knowles on the cap there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're doing their thing.
Yep.
They're doing their thing, leading. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So, and they're playing Louisville coming up.
Both
This weekend.
Both the men and the women are traveling to Kentucky,
Yeah.
Louisville, to play weekend series against the University of Louisville.
Okay. So, and that's
And
this
it's
weekend.
conference play too, right?
Yes.
I think the last game that the men played on the baseball team, they run ruled
USF.
USF,
right?
yeah.
19-0 in 5 innings.
I love how you gotta throw that in there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Number
That's
9
painful.
ranking nationwide here for the FSU men.
Yeah.
And they're going to play Stetson before they get to Louisville.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have a game against Stetson tomorrow
Yeah.
here. That's scheduled. I don't know if this
Right,
anything
they
game
have
that's scheduled.
I'm not sure if they've canceled that.
Right, they
or
don't know if they
anything, yeah.
canceled it
Yeah.
or not. So that's on the schedule for
Yeah.
them to play Stetson here. But the weekend series in Louisville
Yeah.
probably will definitely happen with both teams.
So both teams nationally ranked. No reason to believe that they're not going to continue to play at that level. And we may be talking about Titletown a little bit more the further
like
along we get
baseball
into the
there, yeah.
spring and early
Absolutely.
summer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So look at that. Now we can talk.
I was
That
ahead of myself.
You were.
I was
You
ahead of
got a little
myself.
confused. That's fine. You
It
know,
happens.
you notice the graying of the beard for Eric. That's wisdom. That's also age. It's not age. Just want you to know.
You forget things. You know, you
we-
walk into a
I
room.
give-
Why
I give you-
am I
I'll
here?
cut you some slack.
That's not
So-
normal. Wait a
so
second.
the-
I'm confused.
So the Lady Rattlers softball team,
They did their thing.
they did their thing against who?
Bethune Cook.
Is that one of those
What did I
schools?
say? That's one of those
That's one of
schools.
those schools.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
They did their thing. They're on an 8-game winning streak. They
Wow.
are 21-17 overall, 17-4 in conference,
Awesome.
which is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
like I said, the 8-game winning streak. They played here this weekend. You know, and they swept the series. They had a doubleheader on Saturday. They won the first game 5-1.
Right.
Then they won 1-0 in the second game. Then they came back on Sunday and won 4-3.
I mean, what do we do? That's what we do, right?
That's what
we
title
do.
town teams do.
Oh,
They
boy.
win. They
Send
win.
Bethune backpacking, huh?
Yes.
Let's talk about the men.
Well,
yeah, let's talk about the bid now.
Okay.
On the men's side, this week hasn't been that great of a week.
Yeah, I was
you know.
going to. I mean,
Well,
back
yeah.
off of that. That's what we do. Talk, you know.
Well,
Hey,
That's what we sometimes do.
Well,
maybe
we're
we
gonna
not.
go
should
back-
have started with the men's. And
You
then
know,
we did the
yeah,
women's,
yeah.
you know.
But, sorry, I should have flipped that, man. My fault. My bad. My bad.
Well,
Yeah.
we think about it like this. We had to
Yeah.
come back with we had to have that one game that we needed to talk about because we didn't get the final results of that. The men lost that game.
Yeah.
Then we had a midweek game that
Yeah.
we didn't, do too well against. We lost the midweek game. They lost to UCF 5-1 on Tuesday. Then we went to Daytona.
We couldn't even get a single one. We knew
And-
we dropped in the conference because of that
Right.
loss there. So
We got swept this weekend
Yeah.
in Daytona by
Yeah.
we refer to them here in Tallahassee as the Kitty Cats.
Mm-hmm.
The Bethune Wildcats. We call them the Kitty Cats, but I call them the Wildcats this weekend because they actually
I was
did
gonna
something.
say, man.
They actually did
had
something.
They
some
beat us up
flaws,
pretty bad,
yeah.
They
this
got
was-
us Thursday
yeah.
8-3,
Yeah.
and then Friday 5-2, and then Saturday 9-2.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They got
this
worse.
week wasn't good. We
It
lost
was,
5-game losing streak.
Adrian, you can't win them all.
I know.
what- yeah.
I
and-
know.
But they didn't even win one.
Okay.
They should have had me out there. Listen, I would have done a little something for them.
I thought you
So-
were afraid to play baseball.
I am. But I'm just saying, go out there with a helmet on and everything.
Yeah.
Body armor.
Shoulder pads,
Right.
body armor.
He'd be out there playing second base with a catcher's
Now,
uniform on.
he'd be in the batter's box and he'd look at the first base coach.
He'd pull a
and it would
LeBron
be,
flop.
It'd be the swing away
Oh my gosh.
sign,
And he-
and
I'm
Adrian
so
would stand there and
terrified
watch
of baseball, too.
throw-
Oh my
watch
God.
3 fastballs go right by him.
Listen, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm so terrified.
Hey, but the conference record for the men, we're kind of joking about their loss
13 and
against
5.
BC. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not
So
bad.
they're not
So, yeah, they're
bad.
still-
yeah,
yeah.
19 and 18 overall. So those,
Yeah.
the five
those
games,
early-
the 5
yeah, yeah.
losing games,
Yeah.
it kind of hurt the overall.
Yeah.
But 19 and 5,
Yeah.
and 19 and 18 overall, 13 and 5 in conference. This week they have Mercer coming up on Wednesday here in Tallahassee, and then they have a weekend series here at home against Grambling.
Is Grambling one of those schools also? Is it really just Jackson and Bethune?
Just Jackson and Bethune.
Okay.
Grambling are okay. They were there in Louisiana over there. Louisiana.
Yeah. Okay, that's the whistle that's the double whistle from Taylor.
Okay.
And but as we close out here, we're saying so long to one of our bench mates here, Mr. Adrian. Yeah, turn it. We're looking at you, man. We're
Yeah.
looking at you.
We're kicking you
We're
off.
looking at you. And Adrian is moving on to greener pastures here. We're going to miss him. We're going to see if we can figure out a way to bring you back on the bench from time to time, right, man?
hoping, man. I'm
yeah,
hoping to
and
Guest bench warmer.
guest
Yes.
bench warmer.
Well, do I
Guest-
get in the game this
You
time?
can-
or
you
do
can
is- or
maybe
do
get
I-
in the
Do I have to
game.
get back in the thing, or do I-
Well, no. I tell you what.
How
If
do
you
I-
want, what you may want to do is in your time away from the bench, you may want to get in the game. And if you get in
So
the
what
game,
you're saying is,
you
I
get
can
in the
get
game.
this here
You-
ball.
you got it,
I
man.
can get the game ball.
can
Take
get the game
the
ball.
final shot.
Yeah.
I can do all that stuff.
But you do know that
But
a
be careful.
basketball in the wrong hands
Yeah.
is a deadly weapon. It's a brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I am actually.
Had to get one in.
I'm actually very talented, Eric. I
He
want the
shoots
camera
those
to get
granny
this.
shots.
I can actually spin the
Yeah.
ball with my finger. Now you hold up now.
That's it. That's it, man. We're playing your
Hold on.
fight song,
Hold
man.
on.
Listen, you better do it. All right, you got it. Yeah, man. Go Rattlers.
We're gonna strike.
Fist bump to Mr.
Strike
Adrian.
again.
It's been
Let me
a
get one of
pleasure.
those.
It's been a pleasure to spend time around the bench with you. Don't be a stranger, and we're gonna look out for you and think for great
You
things
can always
for you.
call in, man.
So we say again, goodbye, not just to Adrian, but to our viewers on the podcast. If you are interested in helping us find a replacement for Adrian, or if you got ideas for questions, if you got ideas, if you want to sponsor, if you want to sponsor his, if you want to sponsor his place on the bench, maybe
Yes,
just email
place
us.
on the bench.
Email us at tallybench@wfsu.org. And again, we got a double whistle on him. It's a double fist bump on Adrian. You take care of yourself, buddy. And so long from the bench to everybody.
Absolutely.
Be safe, love your family, and we'll see you next week.